everybody, Brianne here. So today's video is going to talk about how I manage my time. I get asked a lot, how do you manage your Beachbody business as a busy mom? How do you build a successful business, while you're a mom, while you have all these distractions and everything else going on? And, for those of you who don't know me, I have two girls who are 7 and 3. And my husband works crazy hours. He's never home. He works 60 or 70 hours a week. He travels a lot. So for all intents and purposes, a lot of times, everything kind of falls on me. So I get asked a lot, how do you get it all done? How do you take care of the girls and take care of the house and, still find time to build your business and work out? And my short answer is I just do. It's all things that are important to me, so I really make the time to do them. But what I am going to do is break down some of my favorite tips to really kind of keep you in line, keep you on track, to really help you, for those of you out there who are moms, maybe kind of manage your time a little bit better. And for those of you who are mamas to fur babies or other babies, we're all busy people. So it really just comes down to making sure that we make the most of our time. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. And you really just have to make sure that you plan your time. So I will tell you that I have everything scheduled. If it is not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. It's not even on my radar. So if somebody asks me, are you free? I always have to check my calendar first, because if it's not there, it's not going to get done. So some of my tips, probably my most important tip is to set business hours. For me, my hours are kind of scattered through the day, but when I am working, that's my time. Those times are very important to me, that I kind of keep track. So I get up early in the morning. I get up, usually obviously before the kids are up. I work out, I do my personal development, I have my coffee, I check my emails. If it's a day that I'm going to the gym later, I don't work out in the morning, but that way I get extra personal development in. I get extra time to check into my Facebook groups, catch up on Facebook messages or catch up on emails while I'm having my coffee. Kind of go over that. And my big business hours are in the afternoon and in the evening after my kids go to bed. So I have those hours really scheduled out, and I try to not work when my kids are home. I mean, to me, that's very important. So I really have to be sure that I get everything done during those hours so that I don't, flow into the time that I want to spend with my kids, or the time, the nights that my husband is home, that I want to spend with him. So to me, that's something that's super, super important. The other thing is to really go off of a power hour. There's plenty of power hour videos. I have one. Christy Curtis has a fantastic one. Make sure you take a look at it. She really breaks down the power hour into something super fantastic. That's actually where I learned mine from. So it really is great. It really helps you figure out exactly, if you only have an hour a day to work your business, if you're someone who works full-time outside the home and you're trying to build your Beachbody business, the power hour to-do list is a great thing to have, because it really kind of compresses everything that you need into one small kind of little nutshell. So it's really great if you're kind of struggling to say, what do I do with that hour? So you really want to do that, and you really need to make sure that you make the most of that power hour if that's what you have. The other important thing is, what are you willing to give up to be successful in your business? What are you willing to give up? For me, it was cutting down on favorite shows that I would like to watch. I kind of use them as a reward for myself now. If I get through everything that I have to get done in a day by, 9 or 9:30, then I'll watch a show before I go to bed. But if I don't get done with everything until 10:30 or almost 11, then I kind of lose that chance for the evening. So I kind of lose my own little reward. That was a big thing that I gave up. What else did I give up? I am a huge book nerd. I love to read. So a great thing about Beachbody is that one of our vital behaviors is personal development. So I do get to read, but I don't get to read all of the books that I used to love to read. So I use those as like a treat, like when we go away, I'll take, a more enjoyable book that I would like to read as opposed to personal development that I read all the time as a Beachbody coach. Another thing is, really multitask. For me, when I'm cooking dinner, when I'm in the car, Sundays are the meal prep days in my house, so I'm usually cooking all day long. So I like to get in a huge chunk of personal development during that time, especially if I'm in the car with the kids for a while. So a great thing to do is I use Audible, which is an app for your iPhone or your Android, and you can have audio books on it. So it's fantastic. I can use it when I'm at the gym and get my personal development in while I'm working out. I can get it in while I'm cooking dinner. I also use the podcast app. If you have an iPhone, you can download the podcast app and you can listen to all the past national wake-up calls through the podcast app through your phone. So you don't have to worry about using the dial-in line. You don't have to worry about being on your computer for it. It really is a great way to get that extra kind of training in while you're doing something else. So that was a big thing. The other one is Google Calendar. Google Calendar is my best friend. Like I said, I live and die by my iPhone calendar. It syncs to Google. Everything is all kind of interchanged. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. So to me, having that schedule is so important that everything is in one place. So I know if I have things with the kids, or I know if they have activities after school, or we have doctor's appointments or anything like that, that's going to kind of take up a spot in my day that I'm going to need to, when I plan my week, have my business hours set around those times. Another great thing that I use is Acuity Scheduling. It's a free service. You can opt for a paid version. You can opt for a free version. I use the paid because it feeds to my Google Calendar. So what it is it's a great site that I use for my coaches and my customers to be able to schedule calls with me. I have my business hours set in Acuity, so they can only schedule calls with me during those business hours. And it kind of helps streamline the whole process of people saying, are you available? Can you do a call this day? Can you do a call this day? All I have to do is give them my link. My coaches have it. They know how to get a hold of me. And it kind of makes it so they can schedule a time that's convenient for them, that they know that I'm going to be available. So that's super important. I want to make sure that I'm accessible to my coaches, but we can't all be available for our teams 24/7. It's just not possible. That's a big one. And another thing that I like to use is the BAT. For most coaches, it's mandatory. Most teams talk about them. I make sure that my coaches use them. I love them. I think they're fantastic. I have used mine since I started as a coach 2 years ago. Now I kind of know them by heart, so I don't always sit down and fill one out. But if I feel like I'm slacking on my inviting, then you bet I absolutely sit down and fill that out. It's super important that new coaches do that because it really helps them focus on what they should be doing each day. And it helps you as a leader help your coaches where they may be coming up short. If they say I'm doing all the behaviors and I'm still being told no and I'm not sure why, and you take a look at their BAT and they invited 2 people during the course of a whole week, well, you know that they have to step up their inviting. So for me, that's a huge thing. The other thing that I love to use, and if any of you use Google Chrome, you're going to love this, especially if you are focused on making sure that you get the most out of your power hour or get the most out of your day. There's a plugin that you can use for Google Chrome, and it's called Feed Killer. And if you use the plugin, when you log onto Facebook, you won't have a news feed. Yes, it's fantastic. For so many of us who need to avoid the Facebook scroll, it's definitely something that's super important. So we all know how we can get lost in that scroll. 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, an hour later, you're still sitting there staring at your Facebook feed and wondering where the last hour went. You didn't get anything done. So this is super great. So for coaches like me who my private messages on Facebook are a mess. They're always full. I always have a million messages to answer. I turn off the volume on my notifications. I turn off my notifications completely. I put that feed killer up. I use Chrome instead of Safari. And that way I have no news feed to scroll. I can just sit there and get through all of my messages much quicker than I normally would be able to. So those are my tips as a busy mom. How do I manage my time? So I hope that you have all found these useful, and I look forward to speaking with you all soon. Have a wonderful night, everybody.